Thank you. I wanted to thank everybody for coming tonight. This is an incredible opportunity for us. I just had some housekeeping stuff. My name's Jody Arnold. I'm Myron's campaign manager. We've got a bar, which is important for some of us here in Wisconsin, because I've got my drink up here. We've got great food that came from the People's Food Co-op here in La Crosse. Yeah, let's give those guys a hand. And let's give a quick hand to the band. They've got to get back because they're playing more blues tonight. And they came all the way from Eau Claire. Real quick, there's bathrooms down here, there's bathrooms upstairs. We've got no TPP cookies, we've got literature, we've got sign-up sheets. We can still do phone banking before Tuesday. I've got lots of names and a script. So if you're the kind of person that likes to talk on the phone, connect with me and I can help you out. We're gonna have a few quick words from JD Wine. He's our amazing coordinator for volunteers here in La Crosse, and he's going to come up, and we just want to recognize a few people in this county that have been instrumental in making all of this happen and making our name known in this area, which was known as Kind Country, but we'd like to have it known as Buckholz Country.
Well, I was asked to recognize some volunteers, and I got to thinking about it, and I thought, my God, how can I recognize just one or two or three or four, or even a half a dozen volunteers? But I will say this, we had one heck of an amazing group of volunteers. I had them out busting hump every week, and they did it. I mean, they just, literature drops, one kid, I'll take 4 routes this week. 3 weeks in a row, 4 routes. Wow. Yeah, that's why I went, wow. We had a person who single-handedly did the whole south side of Onalaska. Single-handedly. And people out, 94-degree temperature out doing visibility out on the streets. We're out there with these signs, these guys are out there. Sweating up, shorts and a t-shirt sweating out on it. I mean, a great group, and I want to thank all of them that are here very, very much. I appreciate your effort, and I'm sorry I burned you out. Let's give them a hand. All right, my God, I'm up here and nobody's coming to rescue me. Help!
Videotaping, let's pull this stuff off of the stage.
Here she comes.
Before they start going on there again.
All right. Woo-hoo.
Thank you.
Thanks, JD.
Thank you.
For all your work. All right, I just have one thing to say to you all.
Wait a second.
So, I'm so honored to be here. My name is Alicia Lineberger. I'm running for Assembly in the 96th District, right next door. But I was also very honored this year to be a delegate for Bernie Sanders at the convention last week. And I want to say that actually I met Mr. Hightower there. He was at the convention. He was at the rally where we got these TPP signs, and I'll talk a little bit more about these signs in a minute. But I want to let you guys know that Bernie's campaign and Bernie's message changed the conversation inside of that convention hall dramatically. And that was a result not only of all of the conversations that we had, but very much the conversations that Myron has been having on his campaign trail as well, and challenging an established Democrat. And for the first time, I think the Democratic Party is seeing that
we have a lot of traction when we talk about values that pull us together. And they have to take it seriously. They can no longer dismiss the fact that the entrenched folks who are representing the folks at the very top are not going to continue to get elected if they continue to hold that representation and that constituency over the constituency of all of us together. And for me personally, it was an awesome experience because, as some of you know, I have been on the outside of policy, both in renewable energy and in trade practices for 20 years. I was just saying to Mr. Hightower that he was very inspirational in myself and another friend of mine, a long-term friend of mine who's working on the campaign, Lori Harms, organizing a bunch of farmers to go to Seattle and protest the WTO in 2000. And here we are in 2016, and I'm inside of the Democratic National Convention. And Mr. Hightower is inside of the Democratic National Convention, and 1,900 Bernie delegates inside. On the inside. There were plenty on the outside, but there were 1,900 on the inside of the convention hall. And the most important thing about that is we can't stop here. We just started this movement. Bernie lit a fire that is not going to go away quickly, especially if we can maintain our perseverance and our respect. Honestly, to be honest, we need to respect all people. So we need to respect the folks that are very big Hillary Clinton supporters. And I think that respect that most, and Abby's here as well. I saw Abby, there he is. Woohoo, Abby, woohoo! He was on the inside as well. Thank you, Abby. And we had a couple of discussions about how important it was for us to remain respectful of other folks and continue to use our voices to talk about the values that we wanted to represent and the direction that we wanted to see the country go in. But if we're not being respectful of others, they're going to dismiss us immediately. And I know that, and I think Abby knows that too, from being on the outside for many years and being so easily dismissed. Once we get into a position where we can have a conversation, we want to maintain that respect. And so that means when they say, you know, to them, the most important thing is to see the first woman president elected in this country, we have to say, okay, I get it. I get it, because to me, the most important thing is to see a person, a candidate that actually represents the people. There's not a lot of difference in our perceptions, except of course they're basing theirs on gender and we're basing ours on a different set of values. But regardless, we're all people and we should all be respected for where we're coming from. And so I just want to talk a little bit about continuing that revolution and making sure that that movement it has a place where it can take seed and grow deep roots and big, humongous cotyledons, and eventually flowers and fruits throughout the next few generations. And the only way to do that is to come together and to understand that in November, when we go to vote, when we're voting for Hillary Clinton, the fact that it's Hillary Clinton on the ballot is sort of, you can consider it as immaterial if you'd like. If you love Hillary Clinton, then get super excited about voting for Hillary Clinton. That's great. Otherwise, the way that I'm looking at it is I'm voting to keep a party in power that I understand the mechanism. I understand there's a structure. They generally play by the rules. Well, at least the rules are public and we can challenge them. And if we wake up on November 9th and that party is no longer in power, all bets are off. we don't have any idea how to maneuver ourselves, and certainly all of the momentum and of the movement this far will be completely lost. And I think Bernie Sanders understands that better than anyone, and that's why he has very strongly gotten behind Hillary and said the most important thing is we need to make sure that Donald Trump is never president of this country.
For this,
So it's really wonderful to have you all out here today, and in a couple of days we're going to find out how well we did to question the established Democrats. And I want to just say that we are Democrats also. We are perhaps a different kind of Democrat. Mr. Hightower, I most recently realized, helped me understand that I am a populist Democrat. I'm the kind of Democrat that fights for those that are the weakest among us, the ones that are in the most vulnerable positions. That's my role. There are other Democrats that fight for their friends that are at the very top. But regardless, we're Democrats in the sense that we believe that we all have a voice and that we all have a right to vote, and we all have a place at the table. And Myron is exemplary of that. I'm not going to introduce him because Jody's going to come up here and say a little bit more about Myron, but I just want to give credence to the man who stepped up and really took it upon himself in a very courageous way to challenge the established Democrat. And he's inspiring to me, and I'm sure that he's very inspiring to many of you. And I want to encourage us to do as our friend Bernie Sanders says and take the long view here. The young folks that were involved in this campaign, in the Bernie Sanders campaign, they're really upset right now with good reason, and it might be hard to turn them around and get them to vote for Hillary Clinton. But I'd like for us all to have conversations with them and say, look, if you want to have a chance to get in there in 2 years, 4 years, or 8 years, in 8 years, some of those kids are going to be like 30 years old and completely unstoppable. And that's what we're going for. We're laying the groundwork for the folks that got in on the ground level of this campaign and the independents in the country who got excited to come in, and we need to encourage them, just like Bernie says, and that we all know now at every level of government, every single place where we can get in and start creating legislation and creating policy the way that we want it to be formed, to say to them, we don't have to accept your worldview. We know we can do whatever we want to. We understand economics, we understand healthcare, we understand trade policies, we understand agriculture. We know this. And we can write legislation and policy however we want to, and we're not going to take it anymore. So for that reason, I'm so happy to be here, both to honor Myron Buchholz, but even more to hear the amazing words of Mr. Hightower, who's been fighting probably since I was in diapers for this. And it's really wonderful to be able to be here and honor him as an amazing mentor and inspiration as well. Thank